Alright folks, Alan Dribble coming back at you for Ozark Mountain Outdoor Adventures. Coming at you today, we've got a special treat for you here. We have a do's and don'ts type of video, going over some different mistakes I know we've all made in the past. I make them, I've still made them today, but we're going to be going over some the top 5 mistakes for bank fishing. Again, I mentioned a little earlier in the year that primarily my style of fishing is from the bank. One of these days, hopefully, the Lord will bless me with a boat and be able to take it out on the water and do some fishing in that aspect. But until then, I'm going to be walking the bank. I'm going to be bushwhacking, beating the shores, and going hard at it. So today, we're going to give you a little bit of do's and don'ts, top 5 mistakes for bank fishermen. First and foremost, starting off with number 1 would be making too much noise. You know, you have to be super stealthy. I think is key to being successful from fishing from the bank. I had a video I posted a couple years ago, and it's just a bit of a habit that I have. I was whispering. The GoPro wasn't picking up the audio very well because I was whispering, and it's just a habit. When I'm out in the woods, I'm being quiet. I'm being stealthy. I'm sneaking through the woods. You know, so yelling across the, hey, what did you get? One? Did you? I'm definitely not doing that because oftentimes these potential areas are also hunting areas as well, and I might not be hunting that day, but I like seeing wildlife, and they can hear you way before you will ever see them. So being stealthful is key. And as far as that goes as well, I don't wear a lot of bright shirts. So whites, blues, reds are out. I mean, you know, if you're fishing from the bank from the summer, you know, wear a white t-shirt for sure. You know, if you cut off sleeves, I've done it before. You know, get you some sun, those kind of things. You're not being stealthy whatsoever. As far, you got people all around you. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's being loud. That's not what I'm meaning here. Wear you a cool shirt to keep that heat off of you, get you a little sun. But I'm talking about slipping in a back channel or someplace where there's vegetation around the shoreline, and you know what I'm talking about, and that's slipping around the bank, being stealthful. That's not kicking over rocks, tripping, falling, stumbling, tiptoeing through there, just being as quiet as you can. That was one of the very first things that I learned as a young kid, is slipping up to the pond bank. Those first casts can be critical, and you don't want to alert every fish you know, that you're getting ready to cast to, that you just came onto the scene. So definitely number 1 is stealth and being stealthful. So this one also goes right in to being stealthy, and that is making a good cast. So you've traveled to the area, you've done your hike, you're slipping up to the shoreline, you're being sneaky, and here's this bit of cover. Usually, I mean, it's super thick around the bank, and you must make a good cast. So making a good cast is key, because usually that first cast is crucial. And so if you're casting out there to a bit of cover, a bush, a log, and you get caught up on that log or caught up on that bush, and you're shaking it and making all kinds of racket, then you've just alerted every fish in the area, and you might as well move on to the next section, because you definitely have destroyed your stealth. So once you have gained entry into the area, definitely making a good cast for first off the bat is key. All right, number 2 would be size of line. So oftentimes we're fishing from the bank. That means we're fishing from the shallows, and you know, usually you got some visibility, you got some clear water to a degree, and so size of line is very crucial. Oftentimes, you know, we've got this huge line and we're wanting to hook up on these lunkers, but you know, that has its place, and you know, casting out these big jigs and big swim baits, you got to have heavy line. But if we're casting up into the shallows, slipping up to the shore, casting into the shallows, really pay attention to the size of line that you're using, and then also the size of bait that you're using. If you're in less than a foot of water and you're casting out this 3/4 ounce jig and it just goes when it hits the water, it's too big. You got too big a bait for too shallow water. Light line, finesse jig. I know that cuts into distance, and that brings me to my next point, but getting light line is crucial, and a light bait for that presentation. And keeping that stealth factor is going to be crucial for your success, and not spooking all the fish out of the area. So that brings me right into mistake number 3 is we don't always have to see them to catch them. So if we've got a bit of a cove going through here, you don't have to walk right up to that section and look to see if there's any fish there. Cast over there to them, get the distance the closest you can get to them, with still keeping some distance there is crucial. So what you do is you're using light line, you're using a light bait, and you're casting a distance, and you might use those baits to be able to locate the fish without actually having to walk over there to see if there's any fish in the area. As much distance as you can keep without spooking the fish is really going to help you in your success. All right, well, mistake number 4, and that is using a bait that's not going to get snagged up. So again, mistakes made from the bank is not fishing like you're fishing from the bank. Oftentimes we're just in the thick, we're bushwhacking. We might have to bypass large sections of the water just because it is not even fishable from the bank. So when you do get an open spot, you need to be using a bait in mind that is not going to get snagged. You got your weedless worm, your Texas, your Carolina rigs, I mean, are really a go-to bait that I like to use just because they are weedless. The Zoom Super Fluke Jerk Minnow, also 100% weedless. Frogs, you can toss frogs. Generally, those are all weedless. Keep those baits in mind that you're going to be tossing up into thick, deep cover, and you want to be able to not get snagged up, because again, if you make that right cast, you don't want to run the whole scenario with getting caught up on a log, get caught up on a bush or a overhead branch, whatever the case may be. Keep that bait weedless the best that you can. If you are using a crankbait, try and use a square nose crankbait. Something about those square nose crankbaits, they go side to side and are real good about deflecting off of cover versus a round bill that is a little bit more prone versus square on getting snagged up. So be mindful about the cover you're casting into, that deep cover. Keep your baits weedless to keep that stealth factor without getting snagged up on bushes and overhanging trees and those kind of things. All right, our 5th and final mistake is, and you know, fishing from the bank, sometimes we're fishing in a small area, so we can only do what we can on this one, but be able to move when you fish an area and nothing is happening, or maybe you've caught a few, be able to move, or be willing to move and stay on the move. Even if you say have a mistake and you get caught up on a bush, you might blow that area out, come back, go continue on. I know oftentimes we're doing a circle and it may be a one pass kind of deal, but go fish over here for 30 minutes and come back. Give those fish one more chance to settle down. That's something that we don't do very often. It takes a lot of discipline to do that, because you are in a continual line. With that distance you're trying to get, you're casting down the shoreline, staying ahead of yourself and forward motion. But if you get hooked up, if you kind of blow the area or you miss a fish, come back. Give them a little bit of time. Give them 15-30 minutes. Come back. And that will sometimes get that one more chance to hook up with them. But if you're not getting any bites, if it's just a dead area, be on the move. Cover more water. Continue on. Stay. Don't spend your time needlessly in an area where you're not being productive. So that is the fifth and final mistake, is that so we get into that area, we're not listening to the fish, and we stay too long in a single area. But that one tip there, where if you'll just come back after you've spooked a fish or missed a bite, give that fish just a bit more time and come back, oftentimes he'll get back on there. So that's it. Thanks again so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. We've got a lot more action in store for you this summer. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.